All right, we're going to start again. This is some of the stuff that you use for the metal clay jewelry, and basically some molds that I've made previously, same kind of experience on these. These are the ones we just made. This is the one that we pulled off and made a few minutes ago, and then this was the one I did kind of halfway. You probably can't tell much about that. All right, and I'm going to show you how I would make the pendants from these. Now these are ordinary playing cards. It's good to get some, I guess United is still around, I don't know. It's good to get some that are plastic coated. These are not, but since they were all free, I thought I'd use them. That's when the airlines used to give you playing cards because you didn't have anything to do, right? This is a nice kind of a greaser, really. It's just a slippery, it says slippery stuff. It's called silk. You can buy it at your craft store, or you can use olive oil if you want. And what I do with this is just kind of put some on my hands just so that the clay, because it's so precious as you'll see, just so the clay won't stick. And then I work on these pieces on these little cards. So as you can see, I don't have face cards up here because it makes any difference. They just are the ones that were on top. All right, I'm going to put those aside for a minute. My clay, I'm using some copper just because I had some of that left over. And I'm going to go ahead and here it is. It's all sealed. Now, you probably know this, but I always keep my clay in the refrigerator. That seems to keep it moisture longer. I put it in the crisper down there with the ham and the cheese. So far, no one's made a sandwich of it, so we're good. And I'll take some out of this. It's cold. And then I can keep the rest of it kind of sealed up, so don't worry about it getting, and if it does dry out, you can always recondition it, but gosh, it's such a pain. Why worry, huh? All right, so I have a couple here. Now, the way they tell you is to kind of compress that, and that's not a very big much. It's not a lot, all right. And I'm going to use it on this little medallion we used, and maybe that's probably a lot more than I'll need. And they tell you to go ahead and work it until it's malleable, but I found that copper clay is pretty malleable even this cold. So as you can tell, it's a real kind of organic feel to this. My friend Jennifer Myrick kind of is the one who told me just to jump in there and work with it like this, and she was a huge help. So anyway, I'll pass some of her words of wisdom on to you. Now at this point, I have no idea of what's going to come there, and I'm getting my fingerprint all over the back of this. So when people say, why don't you sign it? I say, what's the point? They have my fingerprints, right? Anyway, so we'll see how that's going to work. I can take this out right now if I want and see if there's anything there that we might want to keep. I don't know if you can see this or not. It's really a lovely little piece. I'm going to go ahead. I like that. I have some nice relief things on that. I don't know if you can see it or not, but you'll see it. Whoop, I don't know where the camera is, so anyway, you'll see it in time, and that was that first one that we made here together. Now, typically, what I would do would be to play with this a little, make sure those edges aren't going to be too sharp. If there's a shape I want to change, I would do that, like if it were too round or too square, or, you know. This is so malleable, it's just clay. It's so easy now to kind of change it any way I want. The other thing I would do now, because I'm going to probably use this as a pendant, is I think what I would do before too much longer is I'd go ahead and put a little hole where I want to put my pendant in. I see something strange that has kind of happened here. I've got this little projection that's hanging on. I'm going to tap that down. You couldn't see it, but you'll see this, as I said, as it develops, all right? And then because I've got the clay out, I'm going to go ahead and make another piece. I think I might go, I'll break that piece. You see, you really don't need much clay at all. You saw what I took off, maybe I took a fifth of what I had. So basically, I'm not using, and this is about a half a package. This is a 200 gram thing of clay, of copper clay. And the copper will always fire because it burns out more. It'll always fire a little bit smaller. Well, not a little bit, a lot smaller actually than what you've got. Now I'm just going to put this aside because I just did that one. And just for the fun of it, I'm going to try this. Now sometimes what they tell you to do is get a little bit of that slick stuff that I showed you a minute, that silk, and run that around down in there because that will make that a little easier. There may be some undercuts on that, so I'm going to do both of those that we just did, just to experiment, right? So I've got this piece, and I'm going to try it right here. See what I do? I'm just pushing it down in there, making it pretty flat. Now, because I don't really like heavy, bulky jewelry, but I like really creative, extravagant looking jewelry, I'm going to keep that pretty thin. It is metal after all, and I don't want someone to have to wear a forklift just because they want to wear a piece of jewelry that I've made. Okay, so be a little bit more careful. I'd like to get more of that up at the top so I have a little more room. Now you can make a bail out of this. I don't typically, because I don't know, it's just a little extra trouble, and I don't know that I like it all that well. So I may, in time going, I may decide I like it better. But anyway, so there I've got it all pretty flat. I don't know if you can tell, but it's real flat, maybe 1 or 2 cards. And now I'm going to kind of peel it off, see? And I have this lovely little natural floral again. Oh, and it's really quite nice. I don't know if you can see it, but you will, I promise. I'll hold it up to the camera here in a minute after I get through messing with these. I'm going to go ahead and make those. You can see I'm just pushing them. I put them on these cards because you really can't work with them if you don't. And now it's just a matter of when you've got them where you want them and you've got the hole in there to put your chain or whatever you're going to hang them with, certainly your jump ring, then it's just a matter of letting it dry. Okay, so we've got both of these going. Now these are going to be quite a bit smaller. They're going to go down to 80% of this size anyway, I think, or that's what they advertise. All right, now I have one more little piece, and I'm going to try that on this other little mold to see if I like it as much. I didn't put any of the silk in that I made, just a little bit on my fingers. Now, if I want to use these molds on precious silver metal clay, what I will do is clean them out really good. They're, after all, just rubber. So I can clean them out pretty good. And the reason I would do that is because you're going to contaminate your silver and you'll get all kinds of weird things if you do that won't be as pretty. Typically if I work with silver clay, I'm real careful because it's about 3 times as expensive as this. But I'm also real careful because I want to keep that luster, you know, that really high polished silver. Sometimes I like to antique it, but I do like the luster, all right? Okay, so that's pretty thin. I'll move my card over this way and pull it out for you. There you go. So now we have another lovely, oh dear, see, it does kind of want to fold in on itself. I think it's all right. I don't think there was any damage in that, but you know what? It's a piece of clay. I can start over, not a problem, and you can do the same. And one of the reasons I chose to do that was because I wanted you to see that you could do it. Now this might even be easier to work because it's a little warmer now. And you can see me doing exactly what I did before. I'm going to go ahead and push all that into the mold and then take it out and let it dry. And then we'll talk a little bit about, if I can get enough on this, I may do a close-up or two to see if you can see some more of what these molds really look like. I kind of like this as a circle, I think. So I think that's about right. I'm going to pull it out there. I didn't even let it breathe, did I? No wonder it crumbled on me last time. Very delicately, and then lay it down here very carefully. All right? All right, I don't know if you can see that or not. Probably. Let's see if I can get it close to the camera so the camera will... Okay, let's see. Yeah? Let me try that again. Okay. All right, so this is the piece that we did a few minutes ago. I'm just trying to show you how high that relief is. Really a nice piece. This is the mold that we made the first time. And it really is a nice high relief. I guess you can see that. Anyway, I'll go ahead and let these dry. And then the next time I'll put them through the kiln and you'll see what they turn out like. Okay? Thanks. Okay, I just wanted you to see the hole. All right, so it really is kind of a nice size. All right. It will shrink and you'll see how much as we experiment with this. All right? We'll see what it looks like.